Attention, we are live in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. It's 8:31. I'd like to call the Hillsborough County Building Board of Adjustment Appeals and Examiners August 24th, 2022 meeting to order. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for the invocation, and then for the oath for those planning to give testimony. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mike?
Yes. Thank you, Father, for the day. Thank you for this opportunity to come together. We pray that you'll give everyone here wisdom, clarity of mind, courage. Praise, bless this meeting in Jesus' name.
If you plan to give testimony, please raise your right hand. Answer the following question. I promise or affirm that any testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do. Please be seated. If you have a cell phone, turn it off or vibrate only. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Pam Greenberg,
Here.
Mike McEnany,
Here.
Charles Foster is excused. Daniel Greenberg,
Here.
Henry Mosley,
Here.
James Palavita,
Here.
Kathy Pratt is excused. Doug Shields. Thank you.
Okay, so we have 6. Everybody votes today. Everybody a chance to review the minutes as mailed. Need a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Palavita and
Shields.
Shields. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Any unfinished business? Okay, new business. Affirmation of citations. Inspector Kent.
Good morning, board members. My name is Matthew Kent. I'm a co-compliance inspector with Hillsborough County Development Services. I have 7 cases for you this morning, 4 of which are connected to the Plant City Farmers Market. It's essentially the same piece of land, it's just broken up into several different parcels. Before I get into those, I have a short PowerPoint presentation, just to give you an overview of the properties and the structures that we've cited. So I'll go ahead and get started with the first 3, and then we'll get into that presentation. The first affirmation of citation is case HC-CMP-22-000013. Violator is Jose M. Perez, Aramis et al. Address is 5840 West US Highway 92, Plant City, Florida 33566. Allegations are that Jose M. Perez, Aramis et al. Has failed to obtain a permit for enclosing the northeast portion of primary structure to create living space, construction of a patio porch overhang with metal roof, as well as electrical work, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows: 105.1 permit required. The recommendations are the citation be affirmed as written, and a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Thank you. Need a motion to affirm?
Motion to affirm. Second. Shield.
Okay, Palavita Shields. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you. Next case is HC-CMP-22-000046. Violator is William N. Danner. Address is 1510 Burning Tree Lane, Brandon, Florida 33510. Allegations are William M. Danner has failed to obtain a permit for installation of a metal carport over 150 square feet and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows: 105.1 permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written, and a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion to affirm.
Motion to affirm. Second.
Same group. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 So moved.
One moment. Apologize, I'm missing one of my affirmations. One moment. Do you mind if I grab my computer real quick?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, I apologize. That was painful. Next case is HC-CMP-22-00000105. The violator is Guillermo Rivera. Address is 1916 Maydell Drive, Tampa, Florida 33619. Allegations are that Guillermo Rivera has failed to obtain a permit for home remodel, including interior and exterior demolition, new plumbing, new electrical, new mechanical, electrical to the front fence posts, and additions to front, back, and left side of home, and has continued work after the issuance of a stop work order and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1 permit required, 115.13 unlawful continuance. Recommendations are the citation be affirmed as written and a fine of $1,000 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Talavera and Shields. Any discussion? I have a question on slide 11, showing the electrical work on the outside of the building.
Okay.
None of that seems to meet code by any stretch of the imagination. Is the meter energized?
I believe so. They had power out there. I know I spoke to the contractor out there who was working on getting the permitting and everything just kind of.
Maybe, power is a life safety issue. That looks like an interior panel box.
Mhm.
And you got Romex and unprotected receptacles, and it goes on and on and on.
Mhm.
Can we ask the building official to have the power disconnected?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
The next cases, I have the short presentation for you. Like I said, there's 4 cases. It's all the Plant City Farmers Market. So it's essentially the same land, just broken up. The photos that you have in your packet, they're all taken from right of way and parking lots. So it's kind of hard to get a really good idea of what's happening there. So this is how they're all broken up. 702, 708, 712, and 808. That's all West Sam Allen Road. We'll go to the next slide. This is the first case, 708 West Sam Allen, case 069. It's what I've circled there. On the left is aerial photo from 2019. On the right is an aerial photo from 2021. And you can kind of see on the left side of that building, it's been, there's an addition built onto it essentially. We'll go to the next slide. And these are the photos that I took. And you can see on the right side there where that addition is. On the left side, that kind of facade is somewhat new as well. This is 702 Sam Allen, case 132. In 2018, you can see there was a row of I believe those are like farmers market booths or something like that. And on the right side in 2019, you can see the new quite large metal pavilion that's been built. The next slide. And that's the photo that I have of it from the right of way. And I took that earlier this year. Next slide is 712 Sam Allen, case 133. If you look to the right there, that's that office we were just looking at on case 069. But this is on the left side of that now. The property lines kind of split right down the middle. And then we can go to the next slide. And that's what's there now. I believe they're using it as some type of produce storefront, something like that. And I took those photos from the parking lot earlier this year. And then next slide. So this one is a residence at 808 West Sam Allen Road. This has changed quite a bit. It's hard to tell in the photo that I took because they have some storage, temporary storage units kind of blocking the view. But if you look on the left there, you see that window under the gable roof. I can kind of match that up with the photo that I took. So go to the next slide. And this is a street view taken in 2021 by it's a Google Street image. That's that same window. And final slide. And this is the photo that I took. That window right there, the kind of 4-paneled window, is that same window. In the middle there was originally looked like a pool or something like that in kind of a courtyard. Well, they've clearly built an entire addition in that area. So I just wanted to point that out because in the photos it kind of looks like, well, maybe they just put a roof on, you know. So, yes, sir.
That house, is that also owned by the Wallers?
It's that one is owned by PCF Market, 906 Sam Allen LLC. I believe it's the same people. It's just owned by an LLC,
Okay.
not.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's the end of those slides. So I'll go ahead and get into this affirmations. So we have case number HC-CMP-22-0000069. Violator is Ferris S. and Peggy Waller. Address 708 West Sam Allen Road, Plant City, Florida 33565. Allegations are Ferris S. and Peggy Waller have failed to obtain permits for additions to and renovations of a commercial building / office and are in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations are a citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Alavita and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Next, I have case HC-CMP-22-00000132. Violator is Ferris S. and Peggy Waller. Address 702 West Sam Allen Road, Plant City, Florida 33565. Allegations are Ferris S. and Peggy Waller have failed to obtain a permit for construction of a large metal pavilion/canopy and are in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1 permit required. Recommendations are citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm. Second.
Alavita and Shields. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Next case is HC-CMP-22-00000133. Violator is Ferris S. and Peggy Waller. Address 712 West Sam Allen Road, Plant City, Florida 33565. Allegations are Ferris S. and Peggy Waller have failed to obtain a permit for construction of a metal commercial building and are in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1 permit required. Recommendations are that a citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Alavita and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Final case is HC-CMP-22-00000134. Violator is PCF Market 906 Sam Allen LLC. Address is 808 West Sam Allen Road, Plant City, Florida 33565. Allegations, PCF Market 906 Sam Allen LLC has failed to obtain a permit for renovations, remodeling of a single-family dwelling, is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1 permit required. Recommendations are the citation be affirmed as written and a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm. Second.
Alavita and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, board members.
Next, sir. Mr. Findley.
Good morning, board members. My name is Rick Findley. I'm Code Compliance Inspector with Hillsborough County Building Department. I have 5 cases to present to you today. The first of which is case number HC-CMP-21-00000561. Violator is Melvin L. and Shawnette P. Fogle. Address of violation is 10030 Celtic Ash Drive, Ruskin, Florida 33573. Allegations, Melvin L. and Shawnette P. Fogle has failed to obtain permits for plumbing and electric added to outside screen enclosure and are in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1 permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion,
Motion to affirm.
Alavita and Shields, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC-CMP-21-00000624. Violator, trustee, company trustee. Address of violation is 531 Treviso Drive, Apollo Beach, Florida 33572. Allegations, trustee, company trustee has failed to obtain permits for a two-story addition to the rear of home, a two-story addition of living space and three-car garage on the front and the side of the home and onto the adjacent lot, and failure to obtain permits for pool deck, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed, and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Is this in a flood zone?
I don't believe that it is, but
Okay.
I could check that for you.
No, just curious. Motion,
Motion to affirm. Second.
Alavita and Shields, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case, HC-CMP-21-00000630. Violator, Edgar and Ludivia Vallejo. Address of violation, 2212 Kingswood Lane, Brandon, Florida, 33511. Allegations, Edgar and Ludivia Vallejo has failed to obtain permits for electric, plumbing, and mechanical added to an accessory structure, electric and plumbing added to numerous locations around the backyard and pool area, and failure to obtain permits for a roof structure over patio and at the rear of the home, and are in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed, and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance. We did have a homeowner that was requesting to speak on this before affirmation, if you would like to allow that.
Typically, we don't.
Okay.
What's your pleasure, board members?
I'd like to hear from her.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Doreen Elms and I live at 2211 Village Court, directly behind 2212 Kingswood Lane. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I would like to address the unpermitted, unlicensed, uninspected construction continuing at 2212 Kingswood Lane. Who is the owner? The owner is Edgar and Ludvia Vallejo. Their homesteaded property is 6307 Bridgecrest Drive, Lithia, Florida, otherwise known as Fishhawk. They do not reside at 2212 Kingswood Lane, Brandon. This is a rental leased VRBO. Did Edgar and Ludvia Vallejo sign an owner-builder disclosure statement indicating that this is their residence and not a rented or leased property? If so, they falsified a legal document. I'd like to share my concerns. I'll go from the recent construction from recent 2022 back to 2020 to include an outdoor kitchen, the elite panel roofing, cement pads, parking area, utility shed, septic, raised decking, and encroachments. The outdoor kitchen is being installed right now in spite of current violations and citations. This outdoor kitchen Includes an outdoor gas grill, fryer, sink, and electric with granite countertops. Was this permitted and inspected? Is this work being done by a licensed contractor? Next, the elite panel roofing was installed to create a covered walkway from the home accessory dwelling, create an overhang for the outdoor kitchen, and also creating a covered walkway from the fence line to on the north side of the accessory dwelling. Was this permitted and was it inspected? Does it meet our 140 mile an hour hurricane force wind required here, as well as setbacks? Before the shed was built by Tough Shed, a new slab was poured October 2021. The utility shed is a 20 by 16 and it must be higher than 15 feet. Does it meet the zoning or setback requirements? Does the slab have the required foundation work or footer for a residence? The utility shed is now an accessory dwelling with electric, plumbing, AC, a bathroom, a kitchen, and bedroom, and a large LED light that shines into our bedroom. Now there is an added outdoor kitchen being installed, all of which are not permitted or inspected. The neighborhood is on septic. Where is the accessory dwelling sewage going? In the existing septic and drain field? Is it large enough? Where is it located? Can they access it now that the property is covered with concrete and raised decking? We are now smelling sewage in our backyard. Should the health department be notified and be included in this violation? The front of the property is now a parking lot, completely paved over. They have also cemented to the north and south of the property, encroaching on the south neighbor property. Does concrete require a permit, a variance, anything? The backyard renovation began back in May 2020. The owner installed a raised deck that butts up against our existing fence. This deck is at least 4 foot above the ground. Then he added a 6-foot fence on top of the deck and 3 pergolas. Can that deck hold the weight of these pergolas, including several people that come to party? The shed on the south side and the raised deck and the pergolas all encroach on the south neighbor's property by at least 8 feet. And when it rains, the erosion from under the deck flows into our yards as we are downhill. Edgar Vallejo has many permitting violations. He's been reported and is woefully non-compliant to Hillsborough County Code Enforcement, as well as the building department. Edgar and Ludvia Vallejo do not reside at 2212 Kingswood Lane. This is a rental, a VRBO. They live in Fishhawk. Their HOA and deed restrictions would not allow them to do this in their neighborhood. They have had established businesses in Hillsborough County, which require adhering to zoning, coding, and permitting, etc. What is your plan to hold them accountable? I also have photos if you need, and thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you. Okay. Motion,
Motion to affirm?
discussion. Cherie, are we allowed to increase the fine?
Good morning. I think it's an affirmation,
Yes.
so you have to affirm as written. I guess staff would have the options to maybe, I'm not advising, but they could also maybe additional citations down the road. It's not an appeal, so it's just an affirmation.
Right. But we don't seem to get their attention at $500. Is there a way to, can staff request an increase? And
I
since
think,
none of this is permitted, again, I would ask that the electric be disconnected by the building official. He can request TICO to do that. I know that's within his purview.
yes. So at this point, since it's an affirmation, Sam, you just have to affirm it, and staff can bring additional citations if needed.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Do what you can do.
Okay.
Next.
My next case is HC-CMP-22-000006. Violator is Samuel Cook Jr. Address of violation is 3407 Palmetto Road, Wiamama, Florida, 33598. Allegations: Samuel Cook Jr. has failed to obtain permits for a mobile home set up on property and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Second.
Elevated and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
My final case is HC-CMP-22-000033. Violator, Mikhail Benitez. Address of violation, 7104 Shenandoah Court, Tampa, Florida, 33615. Allegations: Mikhail Benitez has failed to obtain permits for renovation of home and for accessory structures being constructed in the rear of the home, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Second.
Elevated and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Good morning, board members. My name is Daniel Roman. I'm with Hillsborough County Code Compliance Inspector with the Building Services Department. The first case that I have for you today, case number HC-CMP-21-00000118. Violator is Jorge Luis Rodriguez Segura, address 7317 Willow Park Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33637. Allegations: Jorge Luis Segura has failed to provide residential new construction and additions permit for the accessory structure over 150 square feet attached to the main unit and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCO as follows: 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Thank you. Motion.
Motion to affirm.
Elevated and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
The next case that I have is case number HC-CMP-21-00000169. Violator, Michael Linsky, doing business as Jonic LLC. The address is 5415 West Linebaugh Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33624. Allegation: Michael Linsky, doing business as Jonic LLC, has failed to obtain the permit for new double wide trailer and removal and reposition of the old single wide trailer to the east corner of the property and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCCO as follows: 105.1, one required. 115.3, unlawful continuance. Recommendation, citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any or real personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance. I do want to bring to your attention that the reason that that in the case you see that there's a couple of visits is because that's a main road. And they're continually as a matter of fact, they just finished doing an awning in front of the building, the double wide, and now they have a deck in front of it as well. And they keep on doing construction, and there's no permit still for any of it.
Okay, and you cited the property owner, right?
Correct.
But it's their tenant or?
Is the tenant doing it? Correct.
But the property owner is responsible.
Yes,
right?
yeah. The owner sent out a letter, which was the legal representative, sent out a letter to the tenant to cease, and they still continue. I just want to make you guys aware of that.
Thank you. Motion,
Motion to affirm.
Second.
Affidavit and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC-CMP-22-00000192. Violator, Barbara Castillo Rivera. Address 6411 Murray Hill Drive, Tampa, Florida 33615. Allegations. Barbara Castillo Rivera has failed to obtain permit for the construction of accessory structure throughout the rear of the main structure. Windows replacement and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendation, citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any or real property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion,
Motion to affirm.
Second.
Affidavit and Shields. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
My next case, case number HC-CMP-22-00000205. Violator, Kevin Murray. Address 9031 Bayou Drive, Tampa, Florida 33635. Allegation, Kevin Murray has failed to obtain permit for the enclosure or expansion of the carport area and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance. I also want to make the board aware that Mr. Kevin is here today and would like to appeal the citation.
Okay. Okay, is he here? Come on down.
Mr. Chairman, he does need to be sworn in.
Yes, I know. He came in late. Thank you, sir. Please raise your right hand. You promise to affirm any testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Your name and address, please.
Kevin Murray, 9031 Bayou Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33635.
Okay.
All right, well, I closed in the carport, but I mean, there's no structural addition that I've done. All I've done was take door slabs and work them in between structural beams that are there. Now, I've trimmed this thing out to make it look pretty, but I mean, I've done no structural, no electric, it's just an extension of my shed. I mean, I just don't really see why there's a permit have to be pulled because there's nothing structural being done. And I've had this thing sitting here now for, 12 years. And never had a problem with it before, and all of a sudden now there's a problem.
There's sliding glass doors and whatnot.
Yeah, well, there's a sliding glass door instead of a garage door in the front. Now, again, I didn't do anything structural. That door is made in between the beams that were there.
Okay. The requirement in the code, though, is that doors and windows have Florida product approval and meet the wind loading.
Okay, I mean, I could take the door out. I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, that's up to staff, to come up with a solution with you or what to bring, how we brought it to compliance, so you don't, and not have to pay the fine. So that's what this is about.
Right. I mean, I don't know what other to tell you. I can change the door if I need to and put in, a lesser of a product, and that probably won't need any kind of Florida approval thing, because I could put one of them vinyl doors in the front. I mean, like I said, this is just an area to hold a motorcycle. That's it.
I understand, but all doors and windows require Florida product approval under the building code.
Even if it's a vinyl window or door?
Yes.
Really?
There's a whole stack of product approvals.
Oh, I'm familiar with that. I've been in the window and door business
Okay.
pretty much all my life, so.
I read
But I was not aware that on mobile homes, that you needed to pull a permit to put these things in.
The problem with mobile homes is under the statutes, you're not allowed to really do modifications to mobile homes either.
See, I didn't know that either. I mean, I know the newer mobile homes that are going in all around by me, they don't have impact windows. They don't have anything that meets the Florida product approvals.
The newest mobile homes of the last couple of years worth of mobile homes were designed per the Florida building code. And, typically older mobile homes had 2x2 studs in them. The newer ones have 2x3s and 2x4s.
That's what I got.
Yeah. So there's more to it than, this is new, this is old. And I get calls every day about this, and we get cases every month where people I have a carport and they attached it to the mobile home. You can't attach it. It's got to be a flexible connection. There are all these little rules. Staff can help you get through the maze, if that's what they're willing to do that with you. That's part of their job, is to facilitate the homeowners' compliance with the code. As Mr. Blink is proud of saying, we're looking for compliance, not punitive insult to our property owners. So that's what I think, and the board can make that recommendation. I can't make that motion. But if staff's willing to work with you, that's their job, is to help the homeowners get things into compliance. And that's why it's written that the affirmation is until it's brought into compliance. If you bring it into compliance, the case goes away.
Sure. All right. I mean, I agreed. I whatever it takes to get into compliance, I'm willing to do it. It's just right now, the situation with me being on oxygen and,
We understand that.
it's just a pain in the butt for me to do anything.
Yeah, I
In fact, this is
understand.
only my fourth time out of the house in a year.
My brother was in the hospital for a week, so.
I'm telling you,
understand.
and
Yes.
I still got more time left to do all this.
Okay, so what's your pleasure, board?
Yeah, I make a motion that the staff help him get into compliance.
For 6 months? Come up with a timetable,
That would be great.
6 months.
Actually, I'd like a year, but whatever.
whatever we're willing
If you
to
can do it for a year, that would be great.
For 1 year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Staff okay with that?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, we are. We're willing to help out.
Okay, any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, on page 7 of the citation, it looks like we've got an overhang that's open on the right side of the property. Is that new construction?
That is part of a screen enclosure that's over a year ago. I started it and then caught COVID and just had to stop.
But you reinforce that and make it comply?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing, it's more than just that sliding glass door.
So to recap, everything's on hold for a year. The homeowner will work with staff, facilitate, get whatever permits you need to get in place, explain some of the rules, because, we get this all the time. I've been doing this for 20 years, but the rules have changed in the last 20 years. This is the 30th anniversary of Andrew this month. Seems like yesterday.
It actually was today.
Yes. So that's the motion. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
So,
Get it done.
Thank you
Excuse me,
very much.
Sam.
Yes, ma'am.
Sam, just for clarity, so are you removing the case for the agenda? Because I know he filed an appeal. So are you going to table? Are you going to remove it from the agenda?
It's on hold. It's on hold for 1 year to get it into compliance.
Okay, so it's going to be a continuance until 2023.
That's your intent, Mike?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, sir. Good luck.
Mr. Chairman, may I get who seconded that motion? Thank you.
Mike made the motion. Who seconded?
Second, I did.
Doug did. Okay, before we get started, we're going to take a real quick break because I know these next three cases are a little more involved. So it's 9:16. We'll come back in 10 minutes.
All right, everybody, we'll be going live in 3, 2, 1.
(9:26), we're back on the record. Thank you. First, affidavit of violation.
Okay, first case, case number HC-CMP-22-000023. Violator, Lindsay N. Holsa, doing business as Bay to Bay Roofing and Construction Incorporated. License number CCC 1331302. Address 16802 Tobacco Road, Lutz, Florida 33558. Allegations. Lindsay N. Holsa, Bay to Bay Roofing and Construction Incorporated, license CCC 1331302, has failed to complete the roof repairs and is in willful and deliberate violation of the Florida Building Code, building as follow. FBC, existing building codes 401.2 conformance. Florida Building Code residential 905.1 and Florida Building Code 1507.1 roof coverings application. Florida Building Code 1503.2 and Florida Building Code residential 903.2 approved flashing is required. Recommendation. The citation be affirmed as written and the contractor be a charge of $500 and a fine and a recording fee and recording fees. The contractor's permitting privilege suspended in the Hillsborough County and City of Tampa, City of Plant City, and City of Temple Terrace until the property is brought into compliance. Both parties are here to speak.
Okay. Anything else to add from staff side?
Nope, I think you guys have nothing at this moment, no.
Okay, hear from the contractor or the representative first.
The contractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. My name's Randall Love. I'm an attorney for Bay to Bay Roofing. I have with me today Lindsay Halaska, who is the license holder, the president of Bay to Bay Roofing, Anthony Halaska, Richard Gouge, the office manager, and then with me here at the podium is Michael Piscopo, who was the supervisor at the Cactus residence.
Could you just give us your address also, please? For the record?
Yes, mine is 72. I'll read it the way it stands on my card. Okay. So I don't give you my home address. 7236 State Road 52, Suite 13, Bayonet Point, Florida 34667.
Thank you.
Yeah. The issue here is not that the roof wasn't completed. The roof passed inspection. My client has been out to the job site probably 4 or 5 times, once with an inspector to explain the problem that's going on. The allegation is that there is flashing missing. There's no flashing missing. I don't think the staff could point to any flashing that is missing. The problem that we have with this house is there are skylights on the house, and the homeowner did not want to replace the skylights because they had recently had the lids replaced. I have a demonstrative exhibit here. I'm going to have Mr. Piscopo, who is the supervisor, show you how it's leaking, how they installed it. But the problem is the skylights. It's not anything that Bay to Bay Roofing has done. Bay to Bay Roof, and if we went out there, it's my understanding that when the inspector went out, the homeowner had already opened up the roof. I promise you that if we went out with Bay to Bay and opened up another one of the skylights, they would find they are improperly installed. The problem is that they leak in around the lids.
Okay.
The-
I hate to interrupt you.
Yep.
You keep talking and the documents talked about the lids. You talking about the plastic and metal piece that sits on top of the curb of the skylight?
If I could have Mr. Piscopo.
Just want to make it clear for everybody. Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm going to have Mr. Piscopo, I'm an attorney, I'm not a roofer.
I understand that.
So I'm going to have Mr. Piscopo using, this is a similar but not the same skylight, and it's a smaller skylight. But since he has 30 years in the roofing business, I'd ask that he demonstrate to you how these were installed and what the real source of the leaks are. You want to go ahead and do that?
Hi, my name is Mike Piscopo. When we installed the skylights, after you do the tear off, you run your peel and stick drying underneath your frame. Then you run your shingles and you counter cement all your shingles and you roof cement your frame. Well, with this skylights, any skylight, and they have it, that's one piece system. So there is no flashing missing. Because it's a self-flash system. And the customer let me know that they changed lids out. From pictures that I've seen and everything else, the lids are not the proper lids for that. And I've tried to show him a couple times where the water's coming in at them so he could seal them up.
Okay.
Could you real quick demonstrate how you installed it, and then also where it's coming through using the
What we do is,
It's
No,
similar.
It's smaller, it's.
yeah, smaller one, because to bring a monster one in here. All skylights are about almost the same, you know, they may have a little tweak here and there. We don't know what brand it is because it is an outdated skylight. No. But they're all basically the same. And they're a self-flash system where they have a 2-ply wall. And what it is where the leaks are coming from are right where this frame goes on top of that plastic, it's coming down underneath. Now, when you have one of these plastic lids, they have a frame with a lip that goes over the sides, which if you look in the pictures and stuff like that, there is none. There's some silicone here and there, plus there's some metal missing at the top of that frame. We did not take these skylights apart.
Mr. Piscopo,
Yes.
could you show me how you?
Could you use the microphone, sir?
You can't, this is a self-flash system.
How did you tie your roof into that?
All right, we run our peel and stick underneath, install this down in roof cement. Then every shingle is ran. You run your shingle, cement, counter cement, everything up and around.
Okay, if I recall, these skylights stayed in place. You didn't replace the skylights.
No, the
But you-
customer did not want them to replace.
But you did remove them.
No, we just lifted them up because if we would have removed them, we would have broke all the drywall up in the tunnels.
So you lifted them up. You
Yeah,
removed them.
not much, but just enough to get the debris out from underneath any old roofing material and dry and then put drying underneath it.
And then you just butted the shingles up along the edge.
Well, yeah, you run your shingle, you counter cement, you cement this.
Mhm.
You run your shingle, then you step cement every shingle up while you're running your roof cement, so it's double sealed. There's no way water could shoot sideways because that is an open end cut. Even when our nails placing the shingles back over here, because it's not in a frame, water would travel because it's an open end cut, but if you have it counter cemented, water will not get in.
Let me ask you, did you go out and conduct a water test?
Yes, a couple times.
Can you tell them the results of the water?
When I had the gentleman that was inside the house, I hit up around both sides of the frames, the ones that he said were leaking, nothing until I hit the top of the lid.
I got a question.
Yes.
Mr. Piscopo, Doug. I'm Doug. The homeowner said they replaced the domes.
Yes.
If those are self-flashed, there's no way to replace the dome. Unless they cut the dome, unless they did some surgery on it, because they're attached.
Yes.
And the ones that are down there, are those self-flashed?
Yes, they are, sir.
So they're all one piece.
One piece, but they had the screws through the sides. If you look at photos for that, there are screws through the sides to where these plastic ones can be changed out. But that was not the right lid for that because all skylights for a self-flashing frame has a lip going down the side. On all the photos and stuff like that, there was none. It looked like they were cut off. And they were put in a sealer, but if the sealer's worn out, because it was done years before did the roof, would wear the sealer out.
Well, the almighty question is obviously, did anybody go inside and inspect the house before you started the roof?
We usually don't do that, sir.
Right, I understand that. And most of us don't, but not very common, but we expect the homeowners to tell us, hey,
Yes.
I got a leak around this skylight, I got a leak around this skylight, or I don't. Do you know if they had any leaks around those skylights prior?
Not that I know.
We'll ask the homeowner that in a minute. The next question, did you guys, y'all do have to lift it up. You gotta get the skylight up. To not move the skylight is not a true sense.
At least an inch or so of that.
You have to, I mean, we've all done it. I've been in it a long time. So we gotta lift that skylight. You gotta clean the flash and you gotta clean underneath it. So if you lift it up an inch, I think we're stretching it a little bit. You probably took it up a little bit higher. Do you have, how many skylights are on it, John?
There was 5 skylights on it.
How many are leaking?
Supposedly all 5 of them are saying.
All 5 of them are leaking. Okay.
I've only seen 3 of them.
Yes, sir. I know, you may know this, but many contracts today, and we're putting them in ours, have in it now, your lawyer's standing there. Should owner choose to not replace the skylight, contractor not responsible for leaks around it, I would recommend that you get that in your contracts going forward because we all have had this same issue. But however, if these weren't leaking prior to you doing the job and then they started leaking, obviously we've disturbed something. So, I need to hear from the homeowner, so.
So I got a couple questions on the roofing itself. So in this, I guess this is a work order. You're showing peel and stick. What's the membrane that you guys put down?
The peel and stick membrane would be a rhino brand.
And were you aware that this house is in a windborne debris region?
I'm just field supervisor. Anything like that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
To your knowledge, sir, are you aware of anyone else being on the roof trying to repair these skylights?
Not offhand, I don't.
I'll say this, in the homeowners provided, excuse me. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The homeowners provided a statement that they had another roofer come out. They don't identify whom and they don't say what the other roofer did. And it's clear from the pictures that the homeowner has done things, including opening up the roof. And I believe there was some caulking.
And that's my point, because whoever's been going up there trying to do repairs on it, done a really poor job.
And you're talking about after the fact.
Yeah.
I think they've probably done some repairs themselves up there trying to make it stop. But the biggest problem with this roof is it's 212, or what's the slope point? 2.5? I mean, it's so minimal pitch and the skylights are only up a couple inches. Those skylights that he has on there, so the water dams up behind there. It's a 2-foot, 2x4. Water dams up behind it before it can spill around it. And you really got to seal them. Piles up. And if they've disturbed where that new skylight went down on top, I mean, did y'all try to take the bubbles off and re-caulk the seal down top? I mean, there's all kinds of things you could try, I know y'all have tried, so you've been out there and I appreciate that. I'm sure the inspectors appreciate that, but the homeowners got a mess on their hands. And we got to somehow get this thing resolved.
Well, the problem that we have is the homeowner didn't want to pay to put in skylights.
Right, because they just did it 3 years ago, according to the.
Well, they replaced the lids on the skylight.
Right, well, that flashing detail on those things are aluminum and they're pretty solid and they'll last a long time. You can reuse them going forward if you do them right. If you got each shingle should be step cemented and the dog ears cut off, especially on a 212, 312 pitch roof, because the water's going to go around it and try to work its way in because it's moving down so slowly. On a steeper roof, the water's getting the hell off the roof. But on a low pitch, it's going around there like a creek. And if each thing's not cemented and each shingle not step cemented, each shingle you put in cement on top and cut the dog ear, because that forces the water back to the flash and then back out on the bottom. But, from the way it looked, I didn't think you stepped cemented on those shingles from all the removal that I saw. You had a bunch of good pictures there. But it's so low that any backup at all is gonna go up over that curb if we broke the seal of the new skylights over the new curb. So I don't know if why we didn't try to take those off. If you're not getting water until you're running water on top, you may have disturbed the skylight bubble on top. The problem is in your contract, you don't have not responsible for it in there. You know what I mean? And that's really, you could cover yourself a little better with something in their verbiage. I hate the position you're in. We've all been there. But if the skylights weren't leaking prior and now they're leaking, you know.
The problem we have is the skylights are leaking.
From the bubble. He's saying from the bubble.
Yeah.
Right. And that's tough. That's a tough water test because when you're running water around the sides, and then you hit the bubble, you know, some of the pictures look like the water was further back underneath the drywall and not just coming down the face of the drywall, which would tell me this might be coming outside the flashing. But again, I'm not there. I know.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
No,
Yes, sir.
you're good.
Yes, sir.
Well, the problem my client has is if they're leaking around the bubble, this isn't, you know, I'm not sure what my client's supposed to do because they didn't want to replace the skylights. They want us essentially to replace the skylights for them because my client can go back up there, you know, deal with the roof, but quite frankly, until the skylights are replaced, they're going to continue to leak.
No, absolutely. And you're getting more damage inside. And we start getting to the M word mold and people are going to really panic. You don't want that to happen. But you probably could remove those caps, you know, if you remove those tops and you could run water around them sides, it'd really do a really good water test and it not leak. That would be substantial. And if you could run water on the ground on the top of that bubble and show water coming in through that bubble, you know, right there on the ground in front of someone. I mean, that's just an idea to try to help you guys solve the problem. The problem is you really got to hone in and make it 100% positive where that water's coming in and satisfy the homeowner. Homeowner might go, you're right, it is coming through the bubble.
Well, the homeowner's not going to be satisfied till we give them free skylight.
But it can be confirmed whether or not it's the actual dome that's leaking or the flashing that's leaking.
I would suggest this, if we could have Anthony, with your permission, we'll meet the inspectors out there, open up one of the skylights that have not been opened and run a water test for the inspector. I mean, we're pretty confident in in our workmanship. And I think we're going to be able to demonstrate that the problem is the skylights.
Okay.
Well, I mean, again, back to the original thing is if you've got 5 skylights up there and 5 skylights weren't leaking and now 5 skylights are leaking.
We don't know that. Why did the homeowner decide? We need to hear from them.
Yeah.
We deserve.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is there any final, I mean, you're going to get another shot back up here. So is there anything else you want to add at this point?
I'll wait till after we hear from the homeowner because.
Okay. Homeowner, come on down, please.
Hello.
Were you here when we gave the oath?
Yes.
Okay. Your name and address, please.
Adam Kekis, 16802 Tobacco Road, Lutz, Florida, 33558. My mom, Millie Kekis, on my behalf, has been doing all of the correspondence and my dad with these roofers during this whole process. Because this is not the only roof that we had done by them. We had a package deal to do 4 roofs, and this is one of them, and this one has the issue.
Okay.
Okay, so I heard that this this case had entered information there that it is all because of the skylights were done. And it is not true. The skylights were never touched. The frames were never touched. The curbing, as you guys are saying, the curbing was never removed. When we did the new domes on it and sealed them in, the curbings were never touched. It's because they were double layered, the domes, and they are plastic and they had cracks. So we replaced the domes. The curbing was never touched. So what happened there, that was several years ago, and we really never had any issue. In fact, as I put in my letter, which I actually posted, and you could have read it, we never even thought we would do the roof on this house. It was only the garage that had a issue and needed new roof. But then we decided that we actually wanted to have it all done and same color and done and be done with it. And we actually paid for this project on the 29, and also it was inspected on the 29. And there was, no one had a clue or idea that it will be leaking like this. And then on the 3rd, when we came to the house, we were just stunned what's going on. So there is a problem somewhere which was never there before. And so my letter actually, if I can read it, I would, but you have it all in front of you there, even though, I can just read it if it is a part of the record. The sequence of events. Sir?
Is that in the second part that you sent in the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all read it, and it's part of the official record already.
That's right. So I have the same information. What I can add to this is this. Mike, which we are very familiar with, he was there several times. He's the only person who actually was there. As we had the roof done, Mike was not on site. Mike only came to tell us that we need some kind of a flashing that I also mentioned in that letter, and it cost us extra $720. So there was really no supervision on this job. Also, they don't have any photos how they connected the existing frame to the new underlayment, or however it needs to be done to be leak-proof, because obviously there is leaks. And also in my letter, we have the statement where Mike came on the 19th of November, I think, and my husband did actually Myro recommended that we're gonna do water test. And that water test is interesting because they have a short video on that thing where nobody can even find anything and say there is no leak, and it is 1 minute. However, these guys spent like 30 minutes under the roof, and when the hose water was pouring over that roof, Mike wanted to do it on the top. Myro said, no, let's go on the top. He wanted to do it on the top of the dome. And Myro said, no, let's go on the top of the roof and let it flow. So it would not be on the dome. So it went around, and this gentleman who was with him, this old gentleman, he was reporting, oh yeah, I see it. And Mike actually marked it. And then you have a photo when they pushed more, whatever, tar, I call it tar, under the frame. No, under the shingles. Well, that didn't fix anything. I also heard Mike saying that they lifted the frames. No one lifted anything when they were installing the new shingles. No one touched it. Actually, it is screwed in there, so you can see that the original screws are there. And the decorative metal frame that is over there, yes, it has screws from the side, but those screws are only to secure that metal frame on that for the dome, which makes it kind of like pretty. There is one photo that they are showing where he's got like a spatula under that little frame, which has nothing to do with anything. There is not really sealing between that metal little frame on the top, which is a decorative portion of the skylight, not like a leak-proof type of thing. It is just a decorative item, which they never even took off of it when they put the new shingles on there. So my question is, like, since they don't have any evidence of how it was done, how it was connected to that existing frame, and we decided then on the 15th on February, and Mike was there, that we need to really open it to see how it was installed, since that problem is only since the first rain, and our roof is still covered till today. because whenever we uncover it and it starts raining, we have another drip. I have a drip all over it drips on my dining table, it drips on my bed, it drips on the couch, it drips everywhere. I mean, it is not like it drips around the skylights, you know. It's just awful. And so we have it covered, and that's how we live.
Okay. Any questions?
You said you had four roofs contracted with Beta
Yes.
Bay? How did the other three come out?
Okay, so one is a
Quickly.
small one, which is okay. It's on Painted Hills Lane. One is the garage on the property, which actually, when they asked for permit, they only said that it's gonna be one building, but there is two buildings on this property, which is the garage, and they provided picture from the garage roof. And the house is also on that property at Tobacco Road, and they don't mention skylights at all, you know, in the contract. It
Okay,
was just like-
again, ma'am,
Yes,
just real quick, the other three roofs that were done by Beta Bay?
Yes.
They were satisfactory?
no, there is one in Cheval, which has a tiles on it, and I also mentioned,
Focus on this address.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it is different case,
How many of the skylights leak?
all of them.
Mosley has a question.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, you indicated just a few minutes ago that these folks never pulled those skylights up,
No.
Correct.
How would she know that?
never lifted them up.
No,
There's old shingles and stuff under the skylights.
when we open, you can see still old underlayment and old shingles around the new, under the new shingles and a new underlayment. When you look at the pictures that Inspector Szwajkowski took, I think it was somewhere, I don't have the date handy here, but the last visit that they did when we opened it here.
About April 29th?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, no one ever lifted those frames of those skylights. There were original shingles on that roof since brand new, and there was never a leak inside. It's just we are.
Okay. The picture that says Friday, April 29th, whose hand is that?
Which one is that?
The picture,
Show me, sir. Do you?
that's your hand?
Yes.
Okay, so you were on site. It's picture number 20 of 90, page 20 of 92 in our package. Can you explain to us what you're showing us there, please, Daniel?
Excuse me.
Sure.
So in that photo that you see, it's there's cracks around the structure where they said, I spoke with the supervisor that was out there when we did the inspection, and some of the stuff that we noticed was that there's a lot of cracks that would allow water to get into underneath that L-shape bracket that
I'm more concerned about, I'm calling it the curb, the piece of pressure treated wood that's under the dome. Everybody talks about the dome and the aluminum angle.
Mhm.
In that picture, you're down to the actual roof deck, right?
Correct.
Okay. Where's the peel stick that went up to or under? They talked about it being under.
We never saw it, and that's why the issue was that the citizen went ahead and asked another roofer to open it up for her so that they can see. And at the time we could not cite him for anything because it was not really visible. We were not there for that part of the inspection.
Look at page 22 of 92. Oh, that's your hand again?
No, the second one is not. No.
That's not your hand?
This is Mr.
Oh, sorry. Are you looking at this one?
No.
Are you looking at that one?
I see.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, no, this is not my hand. This is actually the photos provided by the citizen.
This is Szwajkowski's hand.
Oh, is Jerry, one of our inspectors. This is his hand.
So it's a county piece of record.
Yes.
I see to the left of the picture, I see the plywood with a bunch of cracks and then it's not flashing and just a bunch of roof cement.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we noticed after we took this picture is that they, a lot of it, what we noticed is that they did not remove the old material as stated.
That's what I'm asking.
That's the almighty question. I got pictures here of where the old shingles look like they're still there.
Some of them are still there. Some pieces
So
are
they
still,
did not
still
demo it.
around.
They did not demo it. They did not lift the skylight. They did not get the peel and stick underneath the new skylight, the old skylights.
And that's what we noticed. Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got a question for you guys. This might seem a little odd, but what's the insured value of the property?
Insured value, there is no insurance.
There's no insurance.
No, we wouldn't be able to get insurance anyways because the roof was old. Nobody nowadays will insure you anyways.
We're 15-year-old.
No, that could have been the thing that we would have had a nice new roof and then we could properly.
And we could not have it insured since this
Right,
was happening,
okay.
so 1 year we have no
That's okay.
insurance.
That's okay. All right. So the thing that I would like to bring up for the board to consider here is that this property is in a windborne debris region. And as such, it's required to have retrofits to the straps, right? According to, right, depending on the value. So the literature here says a insured value of $300,000 or more, or if the building is uninsured, or, and I think we can stop there because it's uninsured. But there's some other factors here, but has to do with ad valorem values. But the property owner is saying that it's not insured. This applies. I see broken trusses. I see gables that have not been properly retrofitted. I see straps with no nails. So I think personally this goes beyond the skylights because there's a signed affidavit from the contractor that they address the roof mitigation. So that's my point.
Okay. Anything else for the homeowner? Okay, thank you. Bring the contractor up for any rebuttal at this point.
Morning, I'm Anthony Halaska, the president of Beta Bay. I would just want to point out the skylights they have to be, they are definitely original skylights. I don't know why we didn't mandate that we did make sure that they were exchanged. For the $400 that it was going to take, I can assure you that we probably would have done it and not ended up in this situation. But like we said, they were very adamant. They didn't want to replace them. I still feel like my crew did a good job. I do see a little bit debris, but again, this roof was done months ago. I know they did it. We do these every single day. I know the crew that did it. They went out there multiple times. I still stand by that this skylight is never going to be it'll never be watertight. It's just not going to happen. I can take him out there and get all of you guys to come and watch it. No matter what and how much tar I put on there, it's never going to stop. The skylight's old. It's too low. Flashing's shot. I don't know how they even took it apart and put a new lens on. And again, I'm ashamed that my guys didn't mandate that this homeowner, I would have walked away and said, I'm not doing this job. Unless you do these skylights, I want nothing to do with it, or you sign an addendum saying that I'm not responsible. But obviously I'm here now, so I'm at the mercy of you guys. And again, I was just going by what was right. You know, we gave them the option to do the skylights. They chose not to do it. It continued to leak, but I still don't feel like it's something that we did. We do good work. We stand behind our work, but if people aren't willing to do what's necessary to get it the right way, then what am I to do as a contractor? I can't force them, and it's not right for me to have to pay out of our pocket to do something that they should be obligated to do, quite frankly. Yeah, I would definitely go out with the inspectors, but I just don't think that, again, unless the skylight is changed, that
one of the problems that we have is The inspector came out after the homeowner or somebody else had opened that roof up. And so the inspector can't say that's the condition that it was when Bay to Bay finished doing the work. We did water test it. The water is coming around the lid. There's no question the water's coming around the lid. When you take them out and run a water test, you'll see that the water's coming in through the lid, not through the base. We'll offer to go up, we'll schedule a time, go out and open it up with the inspector and let him look at it freshly opened without, if that's what it takes. But the issue is the skylight, not the work of Bay to Bay. Thank you.
I have one other question if I can.
Well, earlier your supervisor said that they had lifted up the skylights. No. Okay. Is that what your supervisor said?
Yes.
Okay. Was it done? I mean, according to the pictures, it doesn't look like it was done.
Again, the photos that you have and I have are not made from me. This is the homeowners. I don't believe that.
You need to speak in mic.
Sorry. I believe the photos that you guys have are that from the homeowner. So I don't know that my people were actually taking these photos and handing them in to you. So I don't know that they tore.
Well, the question is the secondary water barrier.
Of course, you have to lift it. You've got to go more than 1 inch and get it underneath there. But that flange ain't more than 2 inches at that. But yes, you have to take it up and run peel and stick up to it. 100%. And I do believe that they did do that.
But the photos that we're looking
Again,
at doesn't show them.
These aren't my photos because we didn't want to peel it apart. Because again, we were not trying to disturb the roof and then be more liable for it. A different one, if you.
Okay. Any other questions, board members?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
If you guys do agree to let me go out there and open up another skylight that has not been disturbed by a homeowner or another roofer, and it was in fact done correctly, what is the outcome for the homeowner? Is she going to be forced? Oh, that's another issue. Okay.
So, question, how are you guys addressing the roof mitigation for the hurricane requirements?
I'm sorry?
So, as I explained earlier, this project appears to be under the requirements of the hurricane mitigation manual that the state of Florida requires. So how are you guys going to address that?
I didn't know anything about it. I got to bring their building back to code?
Well, you should read the document for one. But yeah, I mean, there's the secondary water barrier issue that you're familiar with, but there's also adjusting the straps, making sure the straps are nailed off, adding straps where they're missing. If you look at some of these pictures here, man, you got broken trusses. Who repaired the broken truss?
I think we're getting, I'm telling you, Dan, that's something that I'm unaware of also. If the homeowner doesn't want to bring something back up to code like that, I do not think that's mandatory. They don't have the funds to do that. You can't force feed them and make them do these strapping jobs that are sometimes $4,000, $6,000, $8,000.
Well,
it's an existing house. I think it can, their issue is insurance, getting insurance, which is going to be a problem.
Right. Let's stick with the case in front of us. Right. And then the other, our secondary, yes, is a good point. But at this juncture, right now, we need to stick to the case in front of us.
I don't believe the skylight was removed, boss, just for the record. I don't think they cleaned it. So I just want to make that on the record. When I look at the pictures, it looks like this old stuff was there and we didn't get underneath with this thing. So.
Okay. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mike. No, we're done. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that the homeowners, first of all, the skylights look too short. For that slope roof, it looks like there's not enough vertical length in the curb. So it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. You can't leave that sky. So my motion is the homeowners buy new skylights and Bay to Bay installs them. And let's quit the water testing and let's get it done.
Okay. Doesn't work that way. All right. Allegations. Motion to be made is based on allegations. Do you find them, do you uphold the allegations? Do you say that he didn't fail to complete the repairs?
I make a motion that they uphold the allegation. As a roofing professional, he should have he should have never allowed those skylights to stay.
Okay, so
But
the
I don't want
allegation,
his license suspended by no means.
we're not up to that. On the allegations as presented by staff, you support all three of those as printed. Is that your motion?
Yeah, I'd like to, the three, my computer's been stolen, so
It's the ones that Dan read into the record. Conformance, roof covering application, and approved flashing. Those are the three allegations that the contractor failed to comply with those.
okay, what were the same again?
Conformance, FBC existing building code 401.2.
Okay, we got it.
Okay. It's on page 1 of the document.
Yeah, your motion would be, I find him guilty of number one.
We're taking them all as one. It's one allegation. Or you want to do
Taking
it
all
separately?
three as one?
You can take any way you want to do it.
Yeah, all three. Yeah, we approve all three.
So you
Affirm all three.
the contractor is guilty of all three allegations.
Yes.
Okay, that's by McEnany. Who's the second?
Second.
Shields is the second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mosley.
Sir.
You know, the under discussion, there's just, you know, the owner has removed the domes and replaced that. They voided the warranty on those domes. You're not sure, you know, even if you rebuilt those curbs, you're going to have to flash that with metal. They may not, the skylights probably are not going to fit back over the top of that. Mike's right that the curbs aren't high enough. And these are old Faulkner plastics. You know, the useful life of those skylights have been over for, 10 years or 20 years now. You know, they're junk. So if the contractor goes back in there, extends the curves up, flashes them properly, it's hard to tell whether those skylights even go back in over the top of the flashing. So I feel like Mike is correct in his instincts that the owner needs to replace the curbs. And I'd like to make sure that goes on the record, that no matter what the contractor does, even if there's some defect in his work, that roof will never be watertight. And if it is, it won't be watertight for very long. So
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, I agree.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Fine. That motion carries. Staff recommendations. Those we can take in pieces. So the citation be affirmed as written is the first motion. Somebody want to make that motion?
What page are we on?
2.
Citation be affirmed as written. Contractor permit.
No. Stop right there. That's the first motion. Citation be affirmed as written. Is that, I need that motion like that.
No. It's the second. The second recommendation is the contractor permit. First one, yes.
So the motion, you're making the motion to uphold the citation be affirmed as written.
Yes.
Mosley seconds.
Motion and Mosley seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of upholding the citation of being affirmed as written, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Go ahead on the staff recommendation for the disciplinary part.
I think we both agree here that the motion that the contractor's permitting privileges not be suspended. He's gone out there numerous times. He's doing his due diligence trying to get this right. He's willing to go back out. So I don't think his privileges should be suspended.
Okay, what do you recommend as? I mean, he admitted, right, the license holder, the president said, they said, one person said they did lift it, the pictures that, and the staff was there taking those pictures. Right. You're the roofers, whatever you recommend.
His light, he needs to have nothing done to his permanent privileges. His permanent privileges there should be nothing against that.
Okay.
So I disagree with the second motion.
We don't have a motion yet. That's
Recommendation.
a recommendation.
Second recommendation.
He still has to be held accountable for the, do we need to make a motion to get the discussion, or are we okay to discuss?
Come up with a motion if you like. I'm willing to listen.
Henry, help me out here, Henry.
Mosley will make a motion to place the contractor under probation until the violations are brought into what's the language in the
Compliance.
Into compliance.
What is probation?
Probation only.
Probation
Yeah, what is that?
until this case is solved?
Until the project is brought into compliance, which under discussion, we can probably go into what that means, but that would be my motion.
You have a second?
I'll second it to get the discussion. The situation is we've got it, the inspector, somewhere we've got to find out exactly where this water is coming in.
Let's vote on this. Let's vote on it.
No, we can't vote on, we got to discuss first. But do you understand, we really got to find out on his behalf and the homeowners, because the homeowners, got a mess. But the thing is, I believe there might be two parts to this problem, in which I think Mac was trying to come up and solve, but that's going to be solved out there on the streets with y'all inspect it and find out exactly where this water's coming in. I believe the roof was not installed correctly. I don't believe his men lifted up the skylights and got peel and stick on it and cleaned it. His definitely got fault on his side. She had 5 skylights that didn't leak, and now she's got 5 skylights that are leaking after the roof was done. So there's responsibility there. But if the domes that were put on and they're not the same domes as was mentioned earlier, then that's going to need to be replaced, and they're going to figure that out somewhere out in litigation, correct? So I really believe, I don't believe his license should be suspended. Man's going out there trying to fix it, and that's all he can do. But I think they need to do a better job. I think you could actually get a crew out there and solve this problem, but tear it up, put the new shingles in, put the underlayment underneath, and get it and put plastic over the domes and see if it leaks. If it doesn't leak, then you fixed it. But now you got the problem with the inside, which is not our situation. So I think I like the motion, Henry, that he's under probation until he gets this thing solved. I think we ought to put a time frame, 6 months, 3 months. They need to get on this, because this lady's house I don't think we ought to have it indefinitely.
I agree. That's a time frame probably ought to be included.
So what's your recommendation?
3 months.
Yeah, 90 days.
But the homeowners got to cooperate. I believe they need to replace the skylights.
Me too.
But
I think if you pull them, they're going to be compromised even more because of the age. Those look like Faulkner plastic skylights. Faulkner Plastic's been out of business for 20 years.
Okay.
So I just don't know how you
It
make
could be
something like that
It
work.
could be flashed beautifully.
Yeah.
Water's going to pile up behind the back of it. It's going to pour over that dome. It's going to leak, and then here we go, finger pointing again.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all siliconed in place. That's not a manufacturer's installation or repair to the skylight. If they were done, reassembled per manufacturer specifications, which I don't believe that there is such a thing, that would be one thing. And I think the owner ought to probably show that they bought a factory dome and they follow specifications reassembling it. I think that there's all kinds of reasons why they're leaking. So,
all right, I'm ready for
pitch,
this.
curb, everything.
Okay, we're good. Call the question. All's in favor of the motion as stated, which is have the contractor's permitting privileges be on probation in Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, City of Plant City, and City of Temple Terrace until the property is brought into compliance, and that's for within 90 days, correct?
Correct.
Define probation.
Thank you.
What is that? Maybe Sherry can help us.
The county's got a probation status, I'm sure.
It's in the ordinance.
Good morning. Sam, I think the probation in the ordinance is when they put the license, like a local license, they can revoke, they can put it on probation. Maybe it may be easier, maybe just a thought to have them come back and maybe see how things look in 6 months, and then you can make a decision as to what type of measures you can go from there. Because I'm not sure how we would track the probation. I would ask staff to see if there's any issues with the probation status. But I don't believe that's a permitting
You're correct, because he's state certified.
He's not, you're right, 'cause he's a state certified contractor.
Okay, so let's, based on what attorney's saying, so we go with 6 months, and in 6 months, staff will report back on the contractor's performance, and the contract will appear.
Personally, I think 6 months is very long considering there's active leaks. I think we could tighten this up in 30 or 60 days.
I
Your other
agree.
roofers-
I agree. This can be cleaned up in 60 days for sure.
Okay, we already had 90. You want to leave it
Right,
at
I'm
90?
just saying, 90 is fine.
All right, Henry's okay leaving it at 90. You seconded, we'll go with 90.
Yeah.
So in 90 days, staff will report back, contractor will reappear and report on the status. If it's done, it's done. If it's not done, then additional disciplinary actions can be taken.
But his permitting privileges have not been suspended.
No, nothing changes on
Okay,
that.
okay.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Everybody? All those in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so staff will work with the contractor and the homeowner, investigate best you can, and in 90 days, we'll hear back from everybody.
I just have one question. You stated that the homeowner needed to replace the skylights, and I'm going to do the investigation for this. If for any reason this does not happen, after the 90 days, this goes, and I present this back to you. So
We can't force the
Gotcha.
homeowner to replace them, but we have, between the two of them, they probably got over 50 years of experience
Yeah.
doing this stuff. They deal with it every day.
Here's the benefit of doing that is if the roofer lifts up everyone's and flash every one of them in, does a beautiful job, everybody agrees, and then it fails a water test, then the homeowner's gonna have to come back, and not with the help of the contractor now, it's going to come back and replace all those skylights, and you're going to have to pay not only for the skylights, but the installation and everything else. If we could nip it and kill two birds with one stone.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good.
Okay?
I just want to make sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You have the next case also, I think.
Mr. Chairman, who was the second on that?
Shields.
Shields, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, my next case is case number HC-CMP-22-000077. Violator, Michael Santana, doing business as Sanco Construction LLC, license number CBC 1259755. Address 5650 West Linebaugh Avenue, Tampa, Florida 33624. Allegations. Michael Santana, license number CBC 1259755, doing business as Sanco Construction LLC, has allowed occupancy before the issuance of certificate of occupancy. Florida Building Code 111.1, use of occupancy. Recommendation, citation be affirmed as written, and the contractor charge a $500 fine and a recording and the recording fees. The contractor's permitting privilege be suspended in the Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, of Plant City and Temple Terrace until the property is brought into compliance.
Okay, is this a building code CO or from the fire marshal, or are they tied together?
Tied together, yes.
Okay.
Yes, both parties are here.
Okay.
This is Lauren Humphreys on behalf of Mike Santana. Address is 401 East Jackson Street, Tampa, Florida 33602.
I'm Mike Santana with Sanco Construction, and I'm the GC for the project in question.
We're here today regarding the certificate of occupancy, which was sent by the premises owner, an individual named Manny Delgado, who's actually been more involved in this project than most premises owners. A certificate of occupancy was pulled and sent to my client, who proceeded with operating and completing the job with the understanding that there was a CO. Once it was realized that that CO was not truly in effect, he immediately removed his guys, did everything that he could to make sure that all safety and life safety was, top of mind for this project. As of now, from my review of the records, there's only one permit related to parking that hasn't been completed regarding this project. I have the fire safety records that show this is all up to code. Individuals were removed from the back of this commercial space. This is a warehousing space. We're asking today not to have my client's licensing privileges revoked. This is the way that he makes his living. We understand that there was a miscommunication between the premises owner and him and how the CO, the chronology of how the CO transpired. But as far as sanctioning him in a way that he won't be able to pull permits because this parking permit has not been effectuated, we believe that's too strong and that we're admitting that there was a miscommunication with how these permits played out. My client's here to provide testimony if needed. I do not know if the premises owner is here today. I know that he has a lot of information that may be relevant to this proceeding, but we obviously have the information ourselves, so we're happy to answer any questions.
Do we have the CO from the fire marshal's office?
I have a copy of the status of fire inspection approval that was sent from, let's see. And my client's pointing to the actual certificate of occupancy, which is the one that we pulled at the time of inspection, and I do have that as well. Just to get back to your question regarding the fire status, just to make sure I have exactly what. Yeah, go ahead.
The construction.
Speak into the microphone.
The construction on the building was completed. The inspections, the building inspections were completed. There was an issue in the parking lot with the parking spaces and landscaping. The owner was dealing with the engineer in regards to the paperwork to clear that up. Since the building was complete, I pulled away from the project because it was completely finished. And as I said, the building inspections were complete. I wasn't aware that he allowed people to move in. And I guess after speaking with you guys, my mistake was not driving back there periodically to make sure that the property was empty. I assumed we were waiting on the engineer to clear up the paperwork so that we can go ahead and close out the permit. And that's when all of this other stuff transpired.
One of the documents says, as of June 15th, 2022, there was no CO. Is there a CO, yes or no?
I'm looking at a document that says certificate of occupancy.
One was uploaded. One was uploaded by the county, but apparently it was by mistake because inspection 900 is missing, which is engineering and zoning. And that's what the paperwork was supposed to be clearing up so that we can go ahead and close out the permit.
And from my understanding, Mr. Delgado pulled this CO, whether it was issued by mistake or whether it was uploaded in error by the county, and sent it to my client. And that's what he proceeded on. And then when it was realized that this permit 900 was not obtained, that's when all of this transpired. And that's when he made sure that all of the individuals that were in the back were moved out. But understanding that he wasn't there every day, he didn't know that Mr. Delgado did have other individuals that were there. As far as work being completed on the actual job site, everything is done. I mean, there's nothing left contractor-wise for him to do other than to wait for this engineer parking permit to take place. And I know that that may hold up getting a final CO that would be approved and issued correctly and not in error. But I just don't know how long that would take. And it seems like there's been a runaround with getting this design engineer requirement with these parking and landscaping obtained. And I just waiting on that and not understanding when that's going to be issued and having any sort of suspension of his license when his hands are really tied by the premises owner. I don't see what else we can do. We've really acknowledged that there was a mistake here and we're trying to rectify it the best we can.
It was made.
I think the question is, do we have a CO now or not?
No.
Not until that 900 is issued. Will there be an accurate, from our understanding of what?
We're waiting on an engineer to certify the parking or something?
Correct, and the
All right,
landscaping.
did you try to apply for a temporary CO?
No, I can't say that we have, so.
No, well, that's where you should have gone, apply for a TCO. Okay? And are they, is the building occupied right now?
One space in
In
the
the
front
front.
is, but I have made it clear to Manny to the owner, that it should not have been occupied. I have said that to him numerous times. And yet, he goes against what the suggestion is, and here I am.
He's the owner of the property. He's the one that's in there day in, day out.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Keith Crockett, Code Compliance. I spoke with the fire marshal this morning. They have the fire alarm permits approved and closed, but they don't have fire marshal approval yet. They don't have their CO for that. As of
That's what I keep asking.
as of this morning.
Right, but as part of your client's contract, he had fire suppression systems, alarm systems, all part of his project, right?
And sprinklers.
And all of that is in place.
Didn't ask that.
Yeah.
Part of your contract was to supply, hire the subs to put in those
Yes.
systems.
Yes.
Okay, and to call for those inspections.
Yes.
Why isn't the final inspection done? I don't want to hear about parking, landscaping. One has nothing to do with the other, the way I understand it.
I'd have to go back and check, because I was under the impression that only the 900 inspection was what I was missing. If I am missing something else, I'd be more than happy to schedule that and get it done, because it is completed. Again, I was under the inspection. I was only missing the 900 inspection, which is engineering and zoning.
Okay. Push on the button.
As a licensed contractor, that is your responsibility. And I don't know that you're physically able to keep the owner out of his building or not, but it is your responsibility to get that certificate of occupancy and stay on it until that permit is closed, right? Right, okay, lesson learned.
Any other questions or comments?
It's hard to follow, but I guess we're waiting on a fire marshal's signing off on this project.
Correct.
Correct.
And Mr. Crockett said as of this morning, it hasn't happened. Do we know when it can happen? Can we,
All you have to do is call and schedule it. You guys' phone numbers.
has it been called and scheduled?
We've actively been working to obtain any inspections that are needed to close out the permit.
For how long? How long have you been doing it?
It's been a couple of months now.
A couple months.
Well, part of it was paperwork. There was a lot of paperwork, so there's been a lot of back and forth with the engineers. And that has been the slow up, because architects working.
Okay, are you holding it up now? Have you got everything that you believe you need to get an approval?
From what I understand, yes.
For how long have you completed that last process?
It's been a dash trying to get it done in time for today.
Okay, so they've just got it here in the last day or two?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe they mentioned that there was an outstanding fire alarm permit, is that correct?
I have the records of the fire alarm being approved as far as the dedicated sprinkler monitoring system. And this was just uploaded yesterday. But as far as final fire approval, I believe that Keith is correct.
On Monday, the fire approval should have happened.
So I don't know if it's taking time as of that. We're now on 2 days beyond that, but all I can say is the documents I'm looking into is that we've received a file review as far as the final fire inspection has been approved. It has the listed address. I'm happy to share this with the council if you want, but once again, if the representation from Keith is that it has not been approved and he spoke to them this morning, I rely on that statement as true. So we'll make sure that we can get it so it's approved in full.
All right, anybody else? Ready for motion?
Let's try it again.
On the allegations, there's one allegation.
Make a motion that the allegation that he allowed occupancy before the issuance of a certificate of occupancy be affirmed.
Okay, so you find him guilty of that allegation?
Yes.
Okay.
Mosley will second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. So on recommendations, so 2 motions here also. You get it?
For recommendation number one, I want to affirm the citation be affirmed as written.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Calavita on second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, go for it, Mike.
Yeah, I make a motion on recommendation number two, the contractor's permitting privileges suspended in Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, Plant City, Temple Terrace, till the property is brought under compliance, be denied. Do not affirm that.
No, we need something positive. We're not accepting that. Are you coming up with an alternate penalty or no penalty or just
No
discard
penalty.
that?
I recommend, my motion is he receive no penalty.
Other than expeditiously complete the project?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I believe that that's going to happen.
Do I have a motion, second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? You want to add a time limit?
At this point, it sounds like it's on the fire marshal's lap. It shouldn't have, the reason why you got hit for the first one, it shouldn't have been a rush to get all the paperwork to him this week. It should have been a couple months ago, whatever.
Okay, so no time limit, just move expeditiously to complete the project.
Yes.
Can bring it into compliance.
C.
Okay. Jim, you good with that? Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Get your paperwork in order and learn from this experience. We all get hand slapped occasionally, but now you know you got to track things when you pull a permit. Okay? Thank you. Yes.
And for my understanding for the ruling, as far as the $500 fine, is that still in place?
Yes, we
Okay.
affirm the
And
citation.
as far as effectuating payment of that, we will do so
You deal with the
expeditiously.
county. Yeah,
Thank you.
with staff. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last case that I have for you, gentlemen, would be case number HC-CMP-22-00000111. Violator R. Anthony Valdez, doing business as AV Construction LLC, license number CVC 1257.
The other one, I didn't think would go that deep.
57599. Address 718 Chancellor Drive, Lutz, Florida 33548. Allegations. R. Anthony Valdez has failed to install materials in accordance with the approved construction drawings, and any changes made during the construction that are not in compliance with the approved construction documents shall be resubmitted for approval as an amended set of construction documents, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code Compliant Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 107.4 amended construction documents. 113.6.2 grounds for revocation and suspension. Item number 9, failing to comply with the provisions of this code. Recommendations. The citation be affirmed as written, and the contractor be charged with a $500 fine and the recording fees. The contractor's permitting privilege suspended in the Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, City of Plant City, and City of Temple Terrace until property is brought into compliance. Both properties are here. Both parties are here, sorry.
Okay, any questions for staff? So basically, we're dealing with 107.4 changes in the documents?
Yes.
Construction versus the documents?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
At the end of the day here, I saw a letter here stating that they're trying to, offering to re-roof the house. Are you aware of that?
Yes, actually, I spoke with the contractor, and yes, they did offer that.
Okay. I just want to know if you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, if the contractor is going to be replacing the roof, doesn't that take care of the problem?
Yes.
Let's hear from the contractor, get it on the record, and then
Okay.
we'll hear from the homeowner.
Morning. Morning, Board. Kyle Ray on behalf of Mr. Valdez, 100 North Campus Street, Suite 4000.
Anthony Valdez, AV Construction.
Okay.
So board members, as indicated, we've offered to remedy the issue by replacing the roofing system at the residence. This is an article of new construction, so we do believe that the offer will remedy the citation and violation. Essentially, though, while we're here, why we're here, excuse me, is to assure that his permitting privileges are not suspended in Hillsborough County. He has active contracts that have permits that do need to be pulled. It would negatively impact those homeowners. Obviously, it would negatively impact Mr. Valdez's living. This is how he makes a living. He's a contractor. He's based here in Tampa Bay. This is not a multi-state or multi-county contractor. This is where he works and where he lives. And I don't have much to add other than just the fact that, we are here, we're willing, we're able to do the work. And I will share with the board that the materials have been ordered to actually perform that work. We're just kind of waiting on good weather to be able to get out there and do it. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
your client built the entire house?
He did.
I have a question. Who's going to re-roof that?
There's a licensed roofing contractor, state licensed, Vegas Roofing.
Okay. Do you know what kind of underlayment they're going to do and how they're going to handle the underlayment situation?
It's now going to be done in accordance with the existing plans and specifications that are with the county.
Does it say 230? That's what it stays in? Okay. Okay, good. Because you're going to have a difficult time getting that peel to stick up.
Correct.
Even though it wasn't rolled, it's going to play hell with that plywood.
Correct.
Okay, good.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you'll shred the plywood trying to get the peel and stick up. Yeah, we know that.
Thank
Okay.
you, board members. Appreciate
Any
it.
other questions? Okay. Homeowner?
My name's Chip Morgan. I'm the homeowner. My formal name is Cyril C. Morgan Jr. This is Adam Lynch with CB Goldsmith Roofing. You've probably seen the report that he had. I'd like you to, you have read his report, I assume. Okay. One of the things that we discussed with his colleague, Rob Whitcomb, was just what you fellows mentioned in the last couple of sentences is on this re-roof. Will this be a re-roof in terms of permitting, or how will this be done?
It's a staff question.
Keith Crockett again. It would be considered still underneath the original new construction permit. It'd just be handled that way.
So it's a permit modification to the original permit.
Yeah, no additional permit would be required.
Just notification to staff that this is the change that they're planning.
This is the worst situation I've seen. I've been dealing with this since last August, and these people have pulled me along through this process, steadfastly refused to replace this roof until they brought me to a meeting on August 9th and basically told me if I didn't agree to have my roof replaced, they weren't going to do any more work on my house. No one has been on my house doing anything since July 27th. So that's one thing they were able to do. One of the things that I think the board needs to know is that with this situation, Mr. Valdez has a project coordinator, quote unquote, on this project. And you have a piece of a quotation from a text message in your packet from him that says that he does not supervise anything until the job is done. You see my reply saying, then it's too late. And he repeats himself. What we have here is a management problem in that there's the project coordinator, I'll say, provides ministerial services in that he makes a phone call and has a subcontractor come out to the job. I have been supervising this job personally for over a year. I've been at this 27 months with these people, and every time because of this management philosophy, many mistakes have been made. They steadfastly refuse to fix the mistakes as they are made. This is the worst. And what the problem is because of this management philosophy, we don't look at anything until it's done. I counted last night, and I quit doing it before we came here. I've got over 40 mistakes. In addition to this roof needing to be replaced, there is a hood vent that should have been installed initially back in 2020 when they did this roof that hasn't been installed. I've talked to the attorney about that to make sure that that's included in this. But what I brought Adam for, I thought we might have to go through the report, but you guys are professionals. You see what's going on with that. But I'd like Adam to speak to some of the issues potentially of putting a re-roof on top of this peel and stick that was never rolled, because it's my understanding you might want to explain how it should be done.
Knowing that there's a number of options that the code allows for the re-roofing, it would be our recommendation to go back over with a D1970 peel and stick underlayment rather than 2 layers of the 30-pound, just to cut down on the thickness of materials, knowing that the original peel and stick won't be easily removed from the existing plywood deck.
I guess that'd be a decision between the roofer and the roof consultant and the homeowner. And if they all agree to that?
Well, I wasn't given that option by the contractor. He told me we're going to put double layers of 30-pound, and that's it. And it's my understanding from their firm that there are 3 or 4 different options under the statutes for that application.
To be fair, in our industry, I mean, the 230 pounds is considered secondary water barrier, two synthetics, correct? And so now you're going to have a peel and stick that's going to be underneath it. It will do its job. And then you're going to have the 230 pounds on top. It's to code. So I don't know. That would definitely have to be an agreement between you and him if you want to try to change that. But it is to code, just for the record. And you're going to be putting 6 nails again through these shingles, and that underlayment. I mean, everything down there is not coming up.
The problem is that, they got the insulation sealed underneath the bottom of the.
Well, in addition to that, we've got I counted all except for one side of the house. We've got over 34 ridges. That's my understanding from his firm. They're going to need to be cut to.
Telescoping through the shingles where the underlayment may not have been rolled and it's projecting through.
Yeah.
So it was our recommendation just to go through and cut those, roll them.
Yeah, cut the loose stuff out.
Absolutely.
Y'all figure it out. Figure it out what's best.
Yeah, that's going to be your agreement.
Yeah, that's between you and the
The costs
contractor.
are not that different. Like really, the costs are not that different. The labor in doing 2 plies of 30 pound and doing another peel and stick.
I'd hate to tear off the peel and stick.
You can't tear it.
Right. But if it's loose and it's not bonded, shoot, let it come right up.
So question for Doug and Mike here. So it appears to me that the original roof was not done by a licensed contractor.
No, there was a licensed contractor disclosed on my permit when it was approved, and that was not the contractor that put it on. I have a contract with them that states that I'm supposed to be told of who subcontractor.
Yeah, we saw that. I'm just, for these guys, does that change your opinion on the peel and stick?
It really does, but just because it's above my pay rate, Henry, you guys will know, a general contractor can roof a house, re-roof, can do a new construction without a licensed contractor.
That's correct, if it's new construction.
So he doesn't need a licensed roofer to do that. And I don't like the verbiage that you had to go through with, who is it, Vegas? Is it Vega?
Yeah, Vega was the licensed contractor, but he's not the one that did it, and they never took that off.
Right, and that's a mess, and I know you've been through hell with that, and I think he would probably agree with that, but obviously, GC's allowed to do a roof without, the roofing industry is not strong enough to say you got to have a licensed roofer on you got electricians, plumbers, they have to be licensed, but a roofer on a new construction he doesn't have to have.
Well, I've got another issue that I found out from my lender yesterday, who's Regions Bank. They requested insurance information from him. He's supposed to be giving me insurance information.
Yeah,
I have none. I don't know if he has.
That's another issue. I'm sorry.
Did you check his references before you hired him?
Yeah.
And so you had good glowing references?
Yeah, I even went to one of the houses. It's, I feel like a fool at this point, but at the same time, yeah, it seemed like everything was on the up and up. I've seen Mr. Valdez, this is probably the 4th or 5th time in 27 months. Mr. Martinez has been doing this, the one that I gave you the quote that he doesn't supervise.
Okay.
Defies the definition of supervision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Contractor, have any closing comments?
Just very, very briefly, I've been in communications with the homeowners council. Obviously, I can't speak to him directly for ethical reasons, but I feel very confident that we're going to work through this and get through it together, reach an agreement as to how the project's going to continue, how the project's going to move forward. Fully intend to have a conversation with him later this afternoon. And again, just simply asking that the board not remove the permit pulling privileges. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How many projects he's got going right now?
There are 3 active projects that are in the process of permitting, but permits have not been issued.
The permits have not. He's got nothing in
well-
progress other than this house?
Well, 4.
But none are in process except the one we're discussing now?
Just Mr. Morgan's and have one with the county source.
But they haven't, the permits haven't been,
No, those are active. I'm working on them.
oh, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion?
Okay.
Right. We didn't get there yet. We will.
Has the county, can I ask the county gentleman one more question? Have you got any history on the contractor, negative history?
Not on this contract. No, we don't.
How many years have you been a general contractor?
For
How long has he been a GC?
how, I would have to look that up. I
Okay,
do not,
no
I don't know the answer. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, all right. I make a allegation number 1, he's guilty. Motion that he's,
Okay.
I second.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion as issued? Say aye.
Aye.
motion number 2, grounds for revocation. Are we just saying that there's grounds for revocation because of this?
That's what it says.
Okay, obviously there's grounds for revocation or suspension. I make the motion that uphold allegation number 2.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Opposed?
recommendations on recommendation number 1, citation be affirmed as written.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So moved.
On recommendation of the contractor's permitting privileges suspended in Hillsborough County, I disagree. I think that he's got, I think we ought to put a timeline on it and say he's under probation. This roof can be done in the next 4 to 6 weeks in a heartbeat. Go ahead.
Question, is the roof currently leaking? Okay.
I make the recommendation for the recommendation number 2, I would say the contractor is under probation and the probation period is based upon him finishing this roof, getting a final inspection. I would ask that the county would have a dry-in inspection, not an affidavit on this process to make sure that this thing's nailed off or correctly done, the dry-in, flashing detail. I know that's usually an affidavit, but can we have a dry-in inspection? Okay. That this probation period goes for 6 weeks, and if he gets the final inspection done, the probation period is obviously off.
Do you have a second?
Yeah, I'd like to maybe say give them 8 weeks. And I understand the material's already ordered and ready to go.
You're trying to amend to 8 weeks?
Into 8 weeks, yeah, give them, because rain, whatever, we're right in the middle of hurricane season,
How many squares does that build? How many square foot is that house? 48? Mike, I believe 6 weeks is plenty of time.
Okay.
Let's leave it at 6 weeks, get it done.
All right. I second.
Any other discussion? To recap, there's no penalty other than the citation, contractors on probation pending completing the project, which means bringing it into compliance within 6 weeks.
What is a 6-week day span for you?
6 weeks from the date of the order being signed.
Okay, thank you.
Sam,
Yes.
again, I think this may be similar to, I don't know if he's state certified. I assume that he is. It may be similar. So maybe, you can either continue or you can do something. Maybe the contractor has 45 days to come into compliance. If he doesn't come into compliance by that date, his permitting privileges will be suspended and blah, 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 until he reaches compliance.
I feel like we're listening to Charlie Brown's teacher.
Okay, so the recommendation from council is, as you stated, but at the end of the 45 days, if he's not in compliance, his privileges will be suspended.
I accept that, Sherry. Thank you. Sherry, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the amended motion is contractor privileges are not suspended at this point. He has 45 days to bring the project into completion or in compliance. If that's not accomplished in the 45 days, his permitting privileges will be suspended in Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, City of Plant City, and City of Temple Terrace. And he'd have to reappear.
Yes.
Good?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Good. Next meeting, any other off agenda items?
No,
Don't leave, I need to ask you something. Travis is leaving. Okay.
No, he'll be back. He's not leaving. He's just.
Okay. Next meeting is September 29th at 0900. I'm assuming we're still here. Kimber,
September 29, yeah, we're here.
well, here. Okay. Anybody, anything else? If not, have a safe Labor Day and be good. Thank you. We're adjourned.